Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 6, Melora. A Starfleet ensign who comes from a low-gravity planet visits Deep Space Nine and faces challenges regarding her disability. In the B-plot, a guy with a handle on his face tries to kill Quark.
That handle is the first time a alien design has bothered me.
Yeah, they went too far with that one. It's silly.
It's so stupid.
Well, I could understand having a handle shape, but then why would your mouth be behind it?
It wouldn't.
Well, yeah,
It
pretty much. You even see it when he's trying to eat the food. He has to slide it in the side of his mouth.
Yeah, that was even weirder when they make this stupid design and then they force the character to do something to show how stupid it is.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I guess they'd just run out of simple designs and they had to move on to handles.
You could put a handle on his forehead and that would be fine, I guess.
Yeah, that would actually be a lot better. Or horns.
Or handles on his cheeks.
Or antlers. Antlers on his cheeks. Anything would have been better than a handle across his mouth. How would he drink?
Straws exclusively.
Okay. How did his race drink before the invention of the drinking straw?
They evolved when straws were abundant, and then that way they could thrive.
That actually would be a valid explanation. But there's no way an alien with a handle across their vital orifices would evolve. Also, that guy was not scary.
No, not at all. And you shouldn't tell your victims, I'm going to kill you, if that's your plan, because then things can disrupt your plan.
Yeah. We should probably go to how we felt about the episode as a whole before we get into the details of why it was not very good.
All right, what did you think?
I didn't think it was very good.
Yeah, neither did I.
It was one of these ones that came in with a fairly obvious message. There was no usage of sci-fi elements to draw analogies. It was just outright moralizing from the start, which can work and it can fail. And I think it failed pretty badly in this one. Not terribly bad, but just there was too much stuff that made me question everything about what was going on.
Such as?
Well, we've been over our handle face.
Yeah, good old handle face.
If you want to start on the B plot, everything about that plot made no sense.
Odo's broad smile made sense.
Odo, he goes to Odo and says, this guy threatened directly to kill me. And Odo sort of says, well, too bad, I can't do anything about it. Surely that's a crime. Threatening to kill someone is usually a crime if it's sincere. Is it? I don't know if it is.
I don't know. I know it is when you threaten the president, but if you just say that to a person, I don't think they could do anything unless some action is taken.
Well, fair enough, but he just gives Quark a communicator, which is then useless. And then Quark tries to bribe the guy for his life, and Odo doesn't turn up when he's doing that, or I was expecting Odo to be the bag or something. Or, Quark's trousers, but no, he just doesn't turn up. In fact, he doesn't turn up for the rest of the episode. And also that guy's rampage at the end was mostly just daft. He trades the Latinum and then he wants the artifacts back, and then just kills the guy for no apparent reason.
He's so angry at the world because he has a handle on his face.
He really needs to get a handle on things.
Ooh.
He's losing his grip.
Keep going.
No other puns come to handle. That was pretty bad.
You handled that pretty well.
Okay, and just to round off my rant about the B plot, the thing that this is probably the most petty thing I could possibly pick on in this entire episode. But at the start, Quark offers the guy the artifacts for the low, low price of 199 bars of gold pressed latinum. And when I heard that, I thought, oh, that's quite clever. They're still using in the future that trick of subtracting 1, so it seems cheaper.
Yeah.
Don't buy it for 200, buy it for 199. But then later on, when he's bargaining for his life, he doesn't, first of all, he doesn't start low. He doesn't say, how about 10 bars of latinum? He just uses the 199 figure again. But if he really wanted to make it a good deal, he would offer 200 because it sounds a lot bigger.
Well, he was stressed at the time. His life was being threatened. And 199 is the number floating around in his head. So that was his anchor. So that's what rose to the top in his mind immediately.
Yeah, in other words, he acted like a human, not like a Ferengi.
Yes.
So, did you have any thoughts on the B plot?
No, I really just wanted to talk about how stupid that handle was.
Yeah, God. I wonder if there's any fan art of that guy.
There's always fan art of everything.
I'd like to see some.
One man's garbage is another man's treasure.
Well, that's easy to say. You don't have a handle on your face.
Yeah, maybe I'm just handle racist.
Maybe that's not something that his race has.
Oh, he had a body modification?
Yeah.
It's all the rage in his planet. They're not actually born like that.
Instead of a prison tattoo, it's a prison face handle.
Prison face handle, yeah. That's how you let people know that you are a rough guy.
That you made poor life choices.
I would hire a guy with a face tattoo before I handle a guy with a face handle.
Well, it's because facial tattoos are scary and face handles are ridiculous.
Everyone would be staring and scoffing during lunch hour.
What if he yawns?
Oh, what if he gets lockjaw?
Oh, Jesus. What if he sneezes? Get all stuck on the inside of his handle. Oh, it's disgusting.
Reverse nose drip.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to the actual plot of the episode because there's ground to cover.
All right, other things happened.
Yeah, so Melora turned up as the guest star, and she has this low gravity disability, which is extremely crowbarred in a way. I don't know why they had to give it a sci-fi explanation.
The same reason they can't refer to just a hawk. It has to be some kind of weird space hawk.
Yeah, but I'm sure they could have thought of one that wouldn't raise so many questions about everything that's going on. And then, okay, she gets in there with Bashir. What was your thoughts on Bashir's actions regarding medical ethics?
You shouldn't date patients?
Yes. So that's
pretty sure that's covered in day one.
Yeah. I wonder why no one on the writing staff was familiar with what is and is not appropriate for doctors to do, because this is just another instance of Bashir completely violating like the boundaries that a doctor is supposed to ethically work within.
Well, he's challenged those boundaries so many times that he knows he won't be reprimanded for it.
Oh, God.
He just goes on with it.
That's messed up.
Testing the limits of his rebelliousness or stupidity. Probably that one.
aside from the whole doctor-patient horrendous issue, he was actually quite a romancer. He didn't judge her for her disability. It was done fairly well in that sense.
Yeah, he was disarmingly charming. He saw right through her defensive strategies and worked with that.
Yeah, it's a pity that the whole thing is so icky with the doctor-patient stuff that it really doesn't come across well. Oh well.
Was this our first on-screen passionate kiss?
I think so. Which
How
actually
lovely that it happened with the violation of doctor-patient boundaries.
in the original series, they used to have passionate kissing in almost every episode because it was the sexy 60s. But they kind of toned down on that quite a lot.
Yeah, the 90s weren't as sexy.
No. They had that zero gravity scene, which the effects were pretty good on. But again, it just seemed ridiculous the way they acted. Bashir particularly. It was so strange to have zero gravity, but it's just like a button they can turn off at any time.
What bothered you most about that?
About the zero gravity?
Yeah.
Just that he seemed to be so interested in seeing it, despite the fact he installed it and presumably tested it, or I would hope he had tested it. And surely they would all have played with zero gravity tons. I don't see why they wouldn't have. And then when it is turned on, he says, "What do I do?" Which is just a terrible line.
I don't see how zero gravity could be a novelty to any of them.
Exactly. They're in space. Presumably they have to go outside the spaceship sometimes to fix things.
No, never.
Oh, okay. Then, after all this zero-G sexy time, Bashir manages to find a cure for her disability in apparently 5 minutes of research.
A finding that would award him a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, that's surely quite significant. And then he just starts giving it to her without testing it or anything. And apparently without really explaining the consequences, because later on, she's not so sure. And he says, well, you can't back out now, or your brain will melt. She's really worried. I guess my overall complaint with this episode is that it brought these issues, or the issue of disability and how it's seen in society, screaming to the forefront, but I don't feel it really addressed whatever it was trying to address very effectively.
Why not?
I think the root of the problem for me is that at the end, when they're on the runabout, and for some reason they didn't just beam that guy into space, but let him around shooting people and take hostages, she turns the gravity off and does super moves on the guy, which kind of portrays her disability as having a silver lining.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't want to take the treatment. But I don't know why they felt the need to do that. I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on, but I feel like the character should not have been defined by her disability, yet she kind of was in the end.
Yeah.
Which is what the whole point of it was, that she shouldn't be, but then all the special zero-G super moves that she pulled on Handleface kind of, I don't know, it was kind of silly. Plus, if it's zero gravity, surely he would still be way stronger. She's still weak. It's not like Earth gravity people are somehow really weak when the gravity's off, and low gravity people are really strong all of a sudden.
But apparently, such as with Bashir, humans don't know what to do in zero gravity. They don't have sweet moves.
Well, her moves were pretty good. I don't know what exactly I was supposed to take away from this episode. What do you think?
I'm not sure what we're supposed to take away. I was annoyed when she said no one can understand until they sit in a chair. An obvious, you have to walk a mile in someone else's shoes to understand whatever.
Yeah.
It's just so obvious, and it was a really clunky line. And I prefer when they don't just say stuff like that and they just show it and bring me to their side and understanding through actions and more fluid dialogue.
It's true. If you've ever had to use a wheelchair, people don't look at you. They don't treat you in the same way. Well, I mean, on Earth nowadays. In space, I imagine they wouldn't maybe be quite like that. Especially as everyone is different on Deep Space Nine and in Star Trek. Differences are everywhere.
There are people walking around with handles on their faces.
Yes. I felt the actual wheelchair wasn't that good in terms of the technology they have available. It seemed fairly decent for one by nowadays sort of standards, but compared to like 3-4 centuries development, you'd think it would be, I don't know, like Professor X's one from X-Men.
I think they tried to explain that, something about limitations of what they had available, but
Cardassian station
stands.
But I mean, yeah, fair enough. So she has a wheelchair and it's clunky and difficult to get around. But it's a real problem that people face. And it was actually I felt quite sympathetic when she was stuck on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
That was
sad.
At that point in the episode, it was like, this is a good episode. But then, I don't know, it just went off track and dithered away into this melodramatic choice between living in space with the people and having your zero-G powers, which don't seem that useful, but that shouldn't be what a disability comes down to, in a sense. There's nothing about the person behind the choice there.
Yeah, they reduced it to the options that you just listed, and it's nothing about her.
If she had not done this zero-G special takedown move and then still just decided not to take the treatment, I think it would have been a lot stronger.
Yeah, because then it's not a matter of, oh, do I want to give up these superpowers?
Yeah, it's not pragmatism, it's now a personal decision. And then you'd wonder, well, why is she not taking it? And then maybe she could say, oh, I always wanted to return and retire on my home planet, or, you know, I value where I come from, it's part of my identity, or something.
There was a piece of that on the runabout when she mentioned not being able to go back home and how that was important.
Yeah.
And that should have been emphasized more than these sweet moves.
They were so close. I think that's probably why I'm frustrated by this episode. It was close to being good. It just missed.
Lost its grip.
Oh, God. They couldn't keep a hold of it.
There you go.
It was staring them right in the face, and they missed it.
It was staring you right in the handle face.
Oh, God.
Do you know about the Bechdel test?
Yes.
So when this show fails it really annoys me. Again, we have two women talking about a man. Before we had Dax and Kira, and now we have Melora and Dax. I'm sensing a problem with writing Dax.
Well, Dax and Kira had a good scene in the Siege episode where they were on that ship on the seat of their pants.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was good.
Which is, I guess, the point of the Bechdel test. It's not interesting or realistic to have women characters that just are there to orbit the male ones.
Yeah, and it's annoying to have this character who's presumably only going to be in this one episode, and then she ends up talking about a guy when she's alone with another female.
Yeah, I think. I have some trivia. She or a character like Melora was the original plan for the science officer, but the zero-G stuff would have been way too expensive, so they replaced her with Dax. So it was an idea that came from the very early planning stages of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
To have a zero or a low-gravity alien.
That doesn't seem feasible to regularly do that on a TV show back then.
No, I think it was very expensive to do the zero-G stuff.
Even now, that's likely not practical.
Yeah, it's expensive. Now, I've just noticed I have one thing that I haven't yet touched upon, which pissed me off. Why is her gravitational weakness apparently a brain problem?
Something about sending signals.
Yeah, that seemed a bit weird. Like, slightly offensive weird. Not very offensive, just ever so slightly to take someone with what should be, according to science, a physical disability, e.g., lacking muscular and skeletal strength to sustain themselves in a high gravity environment, and then just sort of saying, "Oh yeah, your brain is dodgy." I don't know. That is something that stuck out, but it was in an ocean of things that stuck out about how bizarre they treated the. Like, why isn't she really tall? She was from a low gravity planet. She'd be 20 foot tall. Like Avatar, the blue guys are huge because the gravity is low.
Maybe she is tall for her planet.
What?
Maybe most of the people on her planet are
No,
3 feet.
No, I mean all of them would be tall compared to people. If you look at creatures from the bottom of the ocean, they're all very flat because it's heavy down there with all the pressure.
If she were tall, it would make it more difficult to have sexy fun time in zero-G.
If they move by bouncing around, why do they have legs? There's so many. They should not have chosen low gravity.
There was one thing I liked.
Yes?
She points out how stupid it is that they have raised rims all over the ship.
Yeah, it's odd that other characters don't trip over them more often.
Yeah. I've been meaning to bring this up. I keep forgetting because it's such a minor thing. But whenever you see characters walking down a hallway and then they're stepping over this rim that's needlessly there, it just looks so stupid.
Yeah, and if the 21st century has taught us anything, it's that people will just use their mobile phones all the time when they're walking around. So they would be tripping over almost every rim.
Maybe that's why they made those, to stop people from staring at their phones all the time.
Oh, it's like a Cardassian military disciplined sort of technique built into the architecture of the station.
Yeah, like how they put pegs on benches and things so skateboarders can't grind on them.
Did the Cardassians really do that?
Yes.
Those monsters.
The Bajorans were really big on skateboarding.
Yeah, well, once you ride a skateboard, you never forget. Okay, do you have a quote that you enjoyed from this show?
I do.
Go for it.
Everything's negotiable.
Another Quark classic?
Yeah, it sounds like a rule of acquisition, and maybe it is, but he didn't mention it, but thought it was pretty good. And there was a rule of acquisition in this episode, which was a deal is a deal.
Yep.
Number 16.
When he says everything's negotiable, he then doesn't negotiate.
Yeah, he does a poor job.
He just starts with a high biz, and then the guy says, "Oh, okay." I'm trying to think of a handle pun about negotiation.
He was too willing to hand over his gold press latinum.
Yeah, I think we've used up every pun about handles.
I was trying to work in hand over fist.
Hand over face? Handle over face.
Handle over face. I'm not sure what that means. This episode was handle over face.
We haven't even mentioned this character's name.
We don't need to.
Okay.
He's handle face.
Yeah, you're not going to get him confused with anyone else.
I wouldn't deign call him by his real character name. He's handle face. That reminds me that Bashir committed the dating cardinal sin of talking about oneself way too much. Although he's talking about someone dying, and so that's a compelling story. But on their date, he was just talking the whole time.
Yeah, that's good dating etiquette. Hey, I'm going to talk about myself and about the time I watched someone die. Please listen.
Pay attention. There will be a quiz.
Okay, I don't really have anything else to say.
I was trying to think of a handle pun to end the podcast.
Yeah, it's a good thing that guy didn't fly off the handle.
Well, he did, though. He went on a rampage.
Do you think his girlfriend thinks he's too hot to handle? Love handles?
But he did not have a love handle.
Yes, he did.
And we're done.